Hello, I'm Gary Alexander, your state representative from the 20th District, representing Lewis County and parts of Thurston County, including the cities of Bacota, Maytown, Rochester, Tenino, and parts of Rainier. I'm reporting to you again from the 2011 legislative session here in Olympia. Well, at long last, we can finally begin the budget discussions in earnest here in Olympia. This week, the majority party in the House released their 2011-13 operating budget proposal, including their solutions to our approximately $5 billion budget shortfall. As you read papers, watch or listen to the newscasts over the next few days, it's important to remember how we got to this point, where we're facing such an immense deficit. Not a deficit, but a difference between revenues and what expenditures they'd like to have. I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to play political games, but let's adhere to the old but wise adage, those who don't learn from history are condemned to repeat it again. This budget is partially a result of excessive government spending. When times were good, rather than save, we depended upon federal dollars and one-time monies and continued to spend. Instead of quickly making changes 2 years ago, changes that would have been difficult but would have led to budget stability when the economy downturned, we kicked the can down the road, choosing instead to pin their hopes on an improving economy. Well, the economy didn't improve, as you and many others that might be employed can attest to. I wish I could say budget writers from the majority party have learned from past mistakes and have come out with a budget that doesn't rely on gimmicks or use of one-time money. A budget that is sustainable, transparent, and responsible. A budget that has reform measures, but sadly I cannot. As the ranking Republican on the House Ways and Means Committee, I've been working with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to find the sustainable budget solution that will set us on a new path and get Washington working again. However, while I agree with many of the reductions in spending found in the House Democrat budget, we have a significant difference in priorities and principles that have led us as Republicans to offer a different plan. In coming up with our alternative plan, we use 13 guiding principles. I'll just name a few. Our budget is truly sustainable. We don't use one-time monies for ongoing programs. We depend upon a strong reserve to meet unforeseen emergencies. We protect our constitutional mandate, such as K-12 education. Our budget's transparent, does not use gimmicks. We utilize parties of government. We minimize any kind of legal costs. We seek efficiencies and true reforms. We do not depend on any new taxes. And we restrict our fee increases to those who pay. The benefit comes back to them. Our plan prioritizes public safety as number one. We want to protect our communities. The House Democrats propose to let criminals out of jail early to save money. We don't do that. Our plan also protects the most vulnerable citizens. These are the people who rely upon us the most, people who have disabilities, mental or developmental. One of the things that the House Democrats do is eliminate their employment program. This is just a foundation for quality of life. We don't do that. The House Democrats cut Medicaid funding which is supported for the people that have long-term care needs as well as mental and disability cares. We don't do that. They implement some cuts in nursing homes and then try to increase fees to backfill that, but divert part of those fees to support other programs. That's a tax increase, and that harms our senior citizens. We don't do that. Our plan prioritizes. Our plan prioritizes education as our constitutional mandate. We leave more money in K-12 education, and we don't eliminate the $6 million for the school food program. Our plan also makes more sustainable and reform measures moving forward, such as support for K-3 education and for transportation improvements in our K-12 system. We choose to eliminate programs that basically are on a life support system now, rather than continue to keep them there, waiting for some kind of pot of gold from the federal government in 2014. Finally, our budget plan does not rely on budgetary gimmicks to balance the bottom line. The House Democrat budget pushes out $240 million from the current biennium into the next biennium so that they can balance their books for this biennium. We don't play that game. The House Democrat budget also relies on a very questionable and hastily prepared proposal to lease our state liquor distribution center. While I think the state needs to think about privatizing our liquor business, this is not the way to do it. Under this proposal, the state will receive a one-time payment of $300 million, but that upfront money will cost the state $64 million, $64 million over the next 20 years in lost tax revenues. If you do the math, $64 million in lost revenue for 20 years for just one-time payment of $300 million up front, this is a bad investment. It's similar to credit ratings. When the state sold us tobacco settlement money for pennies on the dollar, we had the same reaction back then. I believe the public wants a transparent and sustainable budget that does not rely on any form of gimmicks to make ends meet. Live within the revenue we have. Our budget does that. We have given them an opportunity to have an alternative. Hopefully they will look at this alternative and it will provide us with the opportunity to get to a consensus where we can go home on time. I'll continue to update you on the various proposals as they move forward through the process. For more detailed budget information, you can always visit my website. As always, I invite you to share your ideas by contacting my office. I welcome your input. You can use my direct lines, 360-786-7990, or call the toll-free hotline at 1-800-562-6000, or just send me a message by email. And don't forget to check my webpage for updated news. Looking forward to talking to you again soon.